Damn, we have so much to do this week. So much community news, a lot of World Cup shenanigans, and a whole GOATS tournament to cover on top of that. How are we going to manage it all?
I know, right? If only we had a conveniently provided intern to make a recap of the GOATS tournament for us. But that's not going to happen. That'd be way too convenient.
Hello.
Oh my god! Greetings one and all, and welcome to Overwatch This Week, your one-stop shop for all the Overwatch news of the week. So, what's been going on in the community? Well, this week, we received a new balance patch hoping to tone down the oppressiveness of Cassidy's magnetic grenade, adjust Mei's slow and give her compensatory damage, and give Lifeweaver even more buffs, which totally won't end up with him being the best hero in the game by stats alone, because consistently buffing a hero while they aren't meta only for the meta to shift in their favour has never been a problem. I'd also be remiss not to mention the start of the World Cup qualifiers this week, with 40 nations across 3 regions all competing to earn a spot in the group stage. It'd be too much to talk about in just this segment, so we've surgically replaced the Overwatch League segment with our World Cup game breakdowns instead. And finally, the free Valkyrie Wings weapon charm has entered the store, so do make sure to grab it before next Tuesday when it will be replaced with Sprinkles Mei, just in time for Murica Day. Also, we have good news for our PlayStation using viewers, as PlayStation Plus subscribers will soon be entitled to a free Lifeguard Farah skin and 3 Battle Pass tier skips.
And now it's time for the wackiest part of your week! Wins, woes, or whimsy!
And for 3 versus 5, and you still have the damage boosted ultimate. What?
Thank you for watching Wins, Woes, or Whimsy!
And now it's time for the World Cup, and this week the games were mostly stomps, and we'll just blast through those quickly, but we'll highlight all the big games as well as the upsets. Day 1 only saw European teams playing, as we started off with a 2-0 win from Turkey over Poland, leading on to our first big matchup of this qualifier, Finland versus Saudi Arabia. Let's check in on the finish before the game to see how they're feeling. Oh, I'm sure Twitter will be very civil about this. Saudi Arabia took the game 2-1 after a closely contested match. Next up was our first upset of the qualifiers, as the star-studded Sweden team got absolutely pummeled by Norway, led by Onigod. The next 3 games were stomps as Germany, Great Britain and France all won 2-0, and the last game of the day could be classified as an upset, as the historically very solid Netherlands team fell to a Spanish roster led by the EU veteran Helv. Day 2 saw the APAC and Americas teams joining the mix, kicking off with the 2-1 victory from Malaysia over Singapore that was followed by a 2-0 win for Thailand and another for Japan, in which they set one of the fastest completion times ever on Gibraltar and caused a player to literally rage quit. Allegedly. Next we saw Hong Kong 2-0 Indonesia, and then the return of South Korea, here to reclaim their World Cup title, started off by very easily 2-0ing Chinese Taipei, even though there was an imposter among them, as the players made a bet that whoever died first would have to buy everyone dinner, leading to Chio straight up refusing to peel for Fielder, letting him die first. Day 2's EU games were all stomps until the last one. Finland 2-0'd a struggling Sweden side, and Norway, Saudi Arabia, Spain, France and the Netherlands all took 2-0 wins. The last match of the day was Denmark versus Great Britain, which saw the Danes take the series in a hotly contested 2-1 manner. Now it's America's time, starting off with 2-0 wins for both Colombia and Brazil, leading on to the battle for the best team in NA between the USA and Canada, with the former winning in a very dominant 2-0. Speaking of dominant, Mexico and Puerto Rico both won their games very convincingly to close out the day. Day 3 kicked off with the debut of Team Australia, who played a very close series against Thailand, coming out 2-1 victors. The rest of the APAC games were much less close, with India, New Zealand, Hong Kong and Japan all winning their games 2-0. EU also followed suit, with Finland, Norway and Saudi Arabia all winning 2-0, before Sweden continued to show struggling performances, falling 2-1 to a very confident Turkish side. The day ended with 3 more 2-0s, seeing Great Britain, Denmark and France all win, and the former being an impressive performance from the French versus the Netherlands. In the Americas, all the games were one-sided, except for one, but we have Hydron to blame for that. Colombia, Chile and Brazil all won, and then we saw the United States again, and let's just say after map 1 they got a little bit too confident, pulling out the Super Genji and the Hydron Winston, leading to a very funny map loss to Mexico, who were having none of their shenanigans. USA did close it out 2-1 though. To end the day, Costa Rica beat Guatemala 2-0. 4 kicked off with an impressive victory for India over New Zealand, followed by simple 2-0s for Australia, Thailand, Japan, and South Korea. The EU games that day were the most competitive by far out of all the days, but it took some warming up. Firstly, Saudi Arabia and Finland both won 2-0, followed on to the very interesting game of the day, a close match between Poland and Iceland, ending 2-1 to the Poles. Next up, the Netherlands put on a decent showing versus the Seven Lions, but eventually fell 2-1. A quick intermission as Belgium win 2-0 led on to what most would consider an upset, considering Italy's form so far this tournament, as they made a shock comeback after losing the first map to defeat Spain 2-1. The last game of EU saw France defeat Denmark 2-1, which could be considered an upset because the Danes were seen as an easy top 2 in qualifiers. To end this week's games, we had the Americas. Brazil kicked it off with a 2-0 win, following on to a Peru 2-1 win over Argentina in a very good match. Next up, the USA had a little bit of fun versus Puerto Rico with some interesting comps on map 1 and a Hydron tank redemption arc on map 2, even winning a Rhine 1v1. Kaluge also displayed which US tank player is better on DPS, picking up the Reaper guy on map 2. And to end the day, Mexico and Canada both took 2-0 victories. That was the last of the World Cup news this week, with the next round of games starting today, as of the release of this episode. Onto a little bit of OWL news now. Following last week's rumour of the Eternals roster not being so eternal after all, they've released Malthal, Vulcan, and their best DPS so far this season, Luke Mino, to pick up Irony, To You, and Knife. Funky, these are really good pickups, aren't they, you might say. And to that, I would argue, it's the Vegas Eternal. If you think they're actually going to get them over to America and not make them play on 200 ping, you're out of your mind. And finally, as we were writing this script, Danteh got released from the Glads, citing not enjoying this season of OWL as a possible reason for his departure. He then went on to state that his replacement would be Marvel. However, since this has not yet been officially announced by the Gladiators at time of recording, we're going to put a big old allegedly on that one.
And now for a blast from the past, Tuesday News Day!
Consistent viewers of the channel will know that last week we held our long-awaited GOATS tournament, and we'd personally like to congratulate S-Goats on their victory. If you didn't get a chance to see this tournament, fret not! Our unpaid intern Neko has whipped up an exciting best-of montage for your viewing pleasure, and has kindly provided us with a snippet. Roll clip.
Wait up the shatter.
Oh, there we go. Comes in with a massive shadow, creating plenty of room, let alone room tours. And there we go. It's going to find long way back. Creed is taken down eventually, and it is going to be Slow Moon trying to get to the edge of the map. Will be denied by a shield bash.
Again, because they need to get this before overtime or they don't have another chance.
Yeah, there comes a shatter on the upside. They're going to press W onto that as well. Going to push deep in, and down goes Chemist all the way to the back line. Needs to be watching out. And there's nearly gets booped off the map there. In fact, Orpheus comes in with a triple. I can't believe it. Where did that come from, Gio?
I'm lost. Lucy, what is that? That player's goofy. Is Skyfall going to be able to re-enter here? Charged off the map.
Now a little bit. Grav goes in there from Slow Moon with the bomb from Hayden. Will force Creed to shield that off. Big bomb there from Caroline, though. Chemist gonna just look for the opportunity now. Creed goes for the shatter as well. Grav in as well. It finds 6 members of Skyfall. Incredibly clutch there from Creed.
So aggressive and trying to stop anything from happening.
Yeah, they have 5. They're just gonna grab early. Helloff already finds Teddy. Acrophobia picks up 2 with the pin.
Proper attack. Acrophobia has this chance to keep Skyfall off the attack. Invest it now.
It's gonna be it.
Too many, but that's it.
That's gonna be it. S-Goats are your Arena 51 Goats Tournament champions.
As for our political segment, it was a narrow victory, as the community decided that Genji has the vibes of someone who puts his shoes and socks on 1 foot at a time. This week, our poll is thusly: do you think Tracer drinks tea with her pinky finger up or down?
That's all for Tuesday News Day, folks.
And now it's time for Clips of the Week, where you guys send your clips in the A51 Clips channel and we feature the best ones. This week we have a surprise winner, but first, the honourable mentions. Now for the top 3. In third, we have Crabby with an excellent display of Doom mechanics.
Enemy turret eliminated.
Oops.
In second, we have me! Ha 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 ha! I bombed 3 people this week in a video game!
Oh, do that. See what happens.
You can move to just
that works.
Oh, nice. That should not have worked.
And at first, we have Boostio with an amazing display of positioning, rotations, and reaction time. They really outplayed their opponent. And that does it for Overwatch this week. What did you think about the first round of World Cup qualifiers? Do you believe your team will make it to BlizzCon? Let us know in the comments section down below. In the meantime, be sure to hit the subscribe button and slap a like on the video. You can also check out our Arena 51 socials down below. That was all from me, Funky, and your editor Crabby, and we'll see you all next week.